Hi, I'm going to talk briefly here in this election season about Mr. Trump and a certain outside relationship I had with him. I used to hold him in high esteem when I was growing up in New York because I wanted to be a developer and follow on that line. But let's listen to what's going on right now. And this is about immigration in the United States. Let's start with Cornelis Pete Hoekstra. I think that's how his name is pronounced. Hoekstra. He was born in the Netherlands. That's in Europe. He was brought to the United States by his parents when he was 3. He calls himself Pete now. His name was Cornelis Piet Hoekstra, and he calls himself Pete now. He Americanized it. Pete Hoekstra is an immigrant to the United States. Pete Hoekstra is a Republican. Pete is the chairman of the Michigan State Army arm of the Republican Party. Pete is an immigrant from the Netherlands who is a Republican and who is the head of the Republican Party in the state of Michigan. He became the head of the Republican Party in Michigan in January of 2024. That's this year. He was a congressman for the Michigan 2nd District. And in a bizarre move at one point, he promised to get elected no more than 6 times to that office. Well, then he broke his promise and got elected the 7th time. This is part of a story about him, so I'm not making this up. So how do you make a promise like that? I don't know. Well, President Trump nominated Pete Hoekstra, the immigrant from the Netherlands, to the ambassadorship of the country he was born in, the Netherlands. And President Trump did that in 2017, and he took the appointment, so he was happy with that, right? Moving up in the world. Now, Donald Trump's wife, Melania, I think I'm pronouncing that correct, was Yugoslavian when she was born in Yugoslavia. Now then, Yugoslavia fell apart and she became Slovenian, because there she was in Slovenia. And in 1996, Paolo Zampoli, an Italian who may have become an American at some point, I'm not quite clear about that, but it states he's an American nationality. And in 1996, Paolo Zampoli, an Italian who may have become an American at some point, sponsored Melania Trump's immigration to the United States. President Trump's wife is an immigrant. The person who sponsored her immigration is an immigrant. Paolo Zampoli is now the ambassador, permanent mission of Dominica to the United Nations. He is also, at this time, claiming millions of dollars from a Dominica hotel project that was formed using a special type of money that's set aside by folks that come in from outside the country. They invest in things in order to generate jobs and money inside the country. So now he wants to extract that. Okay, let's move on. Now this is about me and my involvement with all this. And I would like you to listen kind of closely. I hope I've piqued your interest already. I worked at a project run by a company called HRH in New York City many years ago, which was the preferred contractor for Trump work. During the time I was there, I put in a bid for remodeling baths and kitchens at a certain location, and I discovered while I was going and checking out the work that they had brought in crews of Korean immigrants, Korean immigrants, to tear out the apartments and redo them. The crews of 9 men would complete that work in 72 hours. There was no way to compete with these folks. They did it at such a low rate of pay too. It was absolutely astounding and frightening. How did they do it? They slept on the site. They slept right there in the places that they were working on. They ate there. They cooked their food there. They worked in atmospheres filled with plaster, lead paint, and asbestos. I can't tell you what happened to them since then, but they were immigrants. Many of them, at least many, if not all, were illegal immigrants. Now, also at that same site were many Irish immigrants, legal and mostly illegal, and they ran the support services for the construction project as well as maintenance. So they were running the place. Now, the project was in a group of buildings put up in the 1930s by the Works Project Administration as part of the New Deal. They were building new stuff and giving people work. They were rent controlled after that, and they housed seniors and low-income families, folks who were going to work and doing what they needed to do, or retired from their well-earned, they were retired and were living their well-earned retirement there. And they were nice buildings, spacious apartments, and well-maintained. The federal government sold the buildings to the development company that was there. And within 1 year, all of the residents were evicted from their homes. All of them were driven out from their homes, and all of the apartments were renovated in the way that I described earlier, and all were converted to co-ops at that point. When the conversion was complete, the buildings were sold again. Boom, there we go. Just one example of what it is like to work with a Trump-connected business. Now, they owed me $800 for services rendered. They didn't pay. I finished up and wiped them out because I wasn't going to have anything more to deal with them. And but I was lucky because they employed mostly immigrant contractors to whom they made many promises and then cheated them out, sometimes of the entire amount that they were owed. Tilemen, plumbers, electricians, hardworking people. They did that to Americans too, as if there's a difference between not paying a worker who's an immigrant and not paying a worker who's an American. Because there's no difference. If you make a deal with somebody, you live up to it. You tell the truth. You pay your bills. And that did not happen in New York with this operation. And I'm not seeing this happen right now. And that's just too darn bad. So take the lesser of two evils and just remember, Trump promises are undependable.